If you must, well, I must. Village from the coast officer. See you then. Oh, for Pete's sake. Don't have to get you running around, do we?
A little longer than a few minutes later.
I'll just keep the Corda Lacey in the channel, if that's okay. It's too shallow near the pier.
Hi, ma'am. And it's a jetty, by the way.
Of course. Jetty. I prefer...
Something about the way she says it makes you want to sing.
Oh, Jetty, oh, Jetty. It's good to see you here, detectives.
What brings you here?
Nothing, really. I've had my eye on this jetty for weeks now, so I decided...
That. And she's also keeping an eye on you.
Spying has such a negative. Then there's the matter of that little scamp in old lady clothes. She threatened to paint the Corda Lacey. How do I like it?
Water drips down eaves of Eternite. The jetty below her feet creaks to the smell of salt and dog shit in the...
It's pornographically poor. The street has no name. I'm surprised that woman hasn't put me to the sword yet.
Dark eyes survey the coast leading up to Martinez.
Fortunately for you, madame.
All right. Politics time. Let's react.
She could easily just...
Above you, there forms a quilt of altocumulus clouds. Twisting, their cloud shadows slide over the ruins of Revachon.
Do you know how they discovered this place? No, they're in Celindian, Isola. I'm guessing you don't know then. Well, your condition has left you no worse off than most of these people. The literacy rate is around 45% west of the river. 50 years of occupation have left these people in an oblivion of poverty. It's a pity. Remind me to tell you one day.
Do we?
I hear you have... Maybe there is something else I can assist you with, while you're hopped in... I love you did.
Fast, observantly.
Pleased to meet you, Lieutenant W. Freighter Dubois. I am glad to see... What can I help you with, Lieutenant Freighter?
She's not even asking you anything. It's so easy to just say.
A referral, you mean? I take it this was for someone in the RCM. Don't answer that. Oh my. A real door.
The lieutenant does not say anything, but you hear the nylon of his jacket rustle as he looks at you.
That's good to hear, Detective. Please...
Her bartering mind cannot fathom that you didn't ask anything in return.
Frankly, what was done was not pretty at all, but neither was it illegal. I advise you to be very selective with what information you choose to share. This may have consequences beyond our line of sight.
How benevolent. Hopefully they'll help you sort this whole business.
While we appreciate your assistance, ma'am, I'm afraid we can't discuss the specific...
That is only fair. Oh my. Very interesting.
Her mind races to the conclusion that most benefits her interests. That doesn't mean she's wrong, though.
It looks like you may untie this knot yet.
There's something in you that really likes the way she's looking at you just now.
Misinformation. This is all because we haven't shared information on the lynching yet. See? Already the adversary uses it to their advantage. Don't let him. Hurry up on that probe. The moment you tell me you're finished at the traffic jam, I will gladly tell you the company's side of the story.
She must really want you to look into the drugs. Otherwise, she'd tell you.
Naturally, Detective. There are lighter topics to gossip about. Did you now? What sort of borscht is he making?
You're right, Detective. That whole undertaking was very unimportant. Why did we do it?
Very curious. A very curious thing to do.
Truly. But that's how he operates. He just does things, ma'am.
What else? A takeover? Taking it.
Green livery, changing into red, blot by blot. Like a cancer of the blood, metastasizing.
Then we're talking about a war. Everett needs to let me into the harbor at once. We need to talk about this. No. It's naive of me. He sent you. This is the negotiation now. And if he does not avert his course, it will be a war negotiation, detectives. An insane goal. Cornell has 1,000 men on their payroll. The next batch will be a platoon of 20 men and a gunship. You can't simply trick them.
I've seen the Union's forces. They are better organized than these mercenaries. They also have the support of the people of Revachol West. It will take more than Cornell to wipe them out. Wild Pines will need to send more and better equipped men. Make no mistake, ma'am. I am sure you have the money. The question is, how many years and how many lives are you willing to sacrifice?
What do you suggest I do? Do you think it's within my authority to give it to them? Do you think I can control the board and the shell-shocked mercenaries they've sent? What will I do?
Her arms fall to her sides. Her spine relaxes.
Did I ever tell you how they discovered this Isola? During our talks? It may be the only break we've ever caught as a species. The last one for 400 years. The nations who colonized this Isola called theirs Muindi, the world. It was all they knew, all they thought would be. That there would be something more was a gamble, akin to another world, or life after death. The Pale was thought to be impregnable, perpetual. Irene la Navigateur, the Queen of Suren, sent 8 expeditions, one after the other, into the mass at the edge of the world, 5 of the crews did not return. 2 did, but had lost their minds.
Each of those expeditions would have been led by an admiral. Sounds like a purge. Like she was purging her political rivals.
There was no precedent for such an undertaking. People thought she was punishing the admirals, or had gone mad, or both. Until after years of trial and error, and the development of a strict psychological regime imitating the creation process of poetry,
Called Volta Doma, or Return from the Sea.
the 8th expedition returned sane and intact. They told of a new continent of matter. They told the Queen and her counselor, Dolores Day, that the Pale had begun to condense, day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute, slowly raining down until it formed a vast ocean.
The air is cold and scented with petrichor. There are rain circles on water all around. Humidity crawls up your back like a piano trill.
Put your hand in
So
the...
does the lieutenant. His mouth is slightly open as he looks to the sky. The droplets feel warm, like spring rain.
The phenomenon has never again been encountered. For a time, the crew thought they were experiencing a hallucination. The mass hand proclaimed, "Lancielinde, Lancielinde," the signal to wake up. But they could not. They were sane and conscious, as islands began to appear on the horizon. There are 78,000 uninhabited islands in the Insulindian archipelago, officer. The freckled face of God.
You've thought it a million times.
Afterlife, death, after death, life again. Toward the pale, after the pale.
A total shift in human comprehension of reality. On the 2nd day, a great skua was shot down above the flagship Elysium. The bird was preserved and brought back, along with pollen. 4 years later, the Queen's counselor was proclaimed Her Innocence Dolores Day, the elected world spirit. The age of humanism, internationalism, and parliamentary rule followed. We were high. On Caillou, the Pebble, the largest of the fertile, uninhabited islands of the northeast Insulindian archipelago. The first living, autonomous organism. Proof of reality. It's the symbol of Insulinde, detective. The coat of arms of the suzerain and the wings on the crest of the commune. In your defense, it is a nasty creature who plucks food from the throats of lesser birds. Yet much like Revachol, it is also magnificent and rare. Imagine the suzerain of seagulls. The nations of Mundi proceeded to discover 5 more Isolae, but these others weren't uninhabited. There was no one but the skua. Revolution. It is.
The gangs will run wild, jacking motor carriages, ferrying amphetamines through Coal City.
I will take your advice, Lieutenant Chiefrater. I will surrender Terminal B to the Union.
She puts her hand in the rain. She's silent for a second.
We will see.
Ma'am, this may well unravel property law this side of the river. If that occurs, we may never see the end of this kind of confrontation. The next time there will be 2 strikes, then 4, then 100.
What happens will happen. The age of capital has only begun. I will talk to my employers in person. We will amputate and cauterize Martinez. If you handle the situation on the ground.
There are no employers. She's a member of the board. Probably a partner.
You are the citizens' militia. There are no superiors.
You're wrong, detective. And next time, you should confer with those superiors before you go setting events in motion.
Events are already in motion. Whether your actions accelerated or momentarily retarded their progress, even the lieutenant cannot really say.
Here I am. I am the face, and I'm here to answer. Rejoice Layton. Yes, Mr. Clare has a 2-month head start. I can't let it grow any bigger. And I keep the peace, and I will keep my end of the bargain.
How far along is Crenell's investigation?
The confrontation is imminent. They have followed in your footsteps. As your investigation reaches a climax, so does theirs. They are your shadow. Protect their targets. Violence may be soon. I do not know precisely. They have cut off all communication, you see. One last thing, Lieutenant Dubois. I've given the matter much thought and come to this conclusion. You're not an amnesiac. You're insane. I know, because I, too, am insane. I just hide my illness better. And I'm rich. No, Detective. No one's as insane as you.
Don't worry, madame. I am very sane.
I'm overexposed, baby. My travels take me through the Pale dozens of times a year. I've got the longing. And I've got it bad. The same strict psychological regimen the 8th Admiral developed when he crossed the Pale and discovered this Isola, the Volta do Mar. It's used by inter-Islary travelers and other troubled souls, even to this day.
You could use a little of it yourself.
Watch out for yourselves. They will strike soon.
The lieutenant watches her boat grow smaller on the bay, its white sails fluttering. With worry in his eyes, he does not know if it was the right thing to do.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
But he doesn't say anything. You wonder what Everard has to say about this. Slowly, the sails turn grey-blue as more oxygen gets between you.
Maybe a great pop-up thing. Is worth turning over it? I don't think it's worth it. I'm already halfway there, so get there for any arguments.
Kuno saw you wield that can. Sweet Graffiso action pig. Kuno likes that delinquent shit. You're still a dink. Now what's your case with Kuno? Shitload, don't tell the...
This is where you quickly ask him questions.
Kuno doesn't give a shit about the army.